everybody, this is Peggy from Eli Marie Studios. I have a fun Valentine's Day project share for you guys today. Since we're now in the month of February, which how crazy is that? I feel like I've blinked and we're already in February and it's time for Valentine's Day. So I figured it was time to pull out our first Valentine's Day craft. I cannot take original credit, or I cannot take a credit for this original album. This was made by this design was a design by Karolina over at Karolina's Krafts. So I will make sure to link all of her information and the original video and tutorial in the description box. So definitely go over and check out hers if you want all of the dimensions and measurements and stuff. But this is probably one of my absolute favorite albums to make. I've made it like 3 or 4 times now. But this is the first one I'm sharing on the internet. So you'll kind of see why in a bit, but I love this album. I think it's just, I don't know, it's so fun, and I love the orientation of it. I love the size. I think it just kind of has that timeless scrapbook look, you know? So I figured it was perfect for this collection kit. So you'll see if you watch my video and then you watch Karolina's, you'll see that there are some pretty significant differences between our albums. So I obviously won't post a tutorial because it's not my original album. But if anybody has questions about the page measurements for the pages, or the dimensions and measurements for the pages that I've created for this album, I'm more than happy to answer those questions in the comments below. So feel free to just ask. But for this album, I used Echo Park's Cupid Co. This came out last year, I think. Yeah, 2022. This came out last year. I got a couple of these in I think it was like a warehouse sale maybe. And yeah, I figured it was high time to use them. So I will say this album took one entire collection kit. So it definitely, like, if you're looking to use up a collection kit and just be able to like zip through it, this is definitely an album to do it. I used just about the whole thing. I only have a couple scraps left that I will probably end up, once I make something with the other copies of the collection that I have, I will probably kind of just fold those scraps in and use them somewhere. But yeah, let's hop into it. Let's get into it so you can see what this album is all about. So, all right, so like I mentioned, this album measures 8 inches by 6 inches, and it does have a 2-inch spine. So on my cover, I matted everything in this kind of rose gold foil paper. I just get this from Michael's. So I will link that down below. Like everything, any materials that I use and that I mentioned, I will link down below as well if I can find them. So check the description box if you're interested in any of these particular products. But this is a rose gold paper, just from foil paper from Michael's. And then these were actually really cool. I found these a long time, maybe 2 or 3 years ago at Michael's. They're just these, oh, the box is, I have them backwards in the box. But it's just these like shaker tags that you can just buy at Michael's. And I had a couple boxes of these and I've been looking for ways to use them. So I don't know, I thought that was cute for Valentine's Day. So I just popped that on the cover with some of the pattern paper. And then I added some, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but these little red hearts. And I had some more of the rose gold hearts as well. And then some kind of like white shimmery stars as well. So that was my shaker fill. And then I added a sticker from the sticker collection. It says, "With all of my heart," some enamel dots, and then just some flowers for my stash as well. So yeah, that's what, and then I tied it off with some pink and white twine. So yeah, I love putting shaker elements on the covers of albums. I did one, actually the same design. I did like a Disney World theme one, and I had like Mickey ears shaker card, or shaker element on the front of my cover for that album, and it came out really nice. And I like, every time I go to make an album, I always forget that that's an option, and then every time I end up putting one on, I love it. So I don't know why I don't do it more often, but it's a lot of fun to put a shaker element on an album. So that's mine. So I just paper pieced on the cover. I had like no paper left, so you can see here, like this one was still just ever so slightly too small. And then when I created the ripped border, you can see some of the rose gold peeking out there, but figured it wasn't too big of a deal. So yeah, there's my cover. I used, again, just some matting of the rose gold, some extra paper for the spine. And then I had, again, not no pieces that were big enough for the whole cover, so I just used one of my paper punches, and then created the hexagon pattern. Again, I got that idea from Karolina over at Karolina's Krafts, and just kind of pieced together a back cover with using the scraps that I had. And then I just popped my logo on the back there. So yeah. And then I tied everything off with some pink ribbon. I just got this. I think I got this actually like at Marshall's or Home Goods or something. It was in their holiday collection. Actually, it's right here. It was in their holiday collection. So it came with this really pretty kind of like, you know, powder pink ribbon, but then it also has this really cool snowflake and then glitter ribbon, which I haven't used these yet. But I figured this matched perfectly. So I figured I would start using it up for, oh, you can hear a truck outside my window. Hopefully, I don't know if you guys can hear that. But I figured that pink ribbon would be perfect for this album. So I use that in a couple places throughout the album. So when you open it, oops, when you open it, it looks like this. Oh, I'm shaking the camera, sorry guys. Okay, so on the inside cover, again, I just matted. Most pages are matted in this rose gold foil. Not everything is, but quite a bit is. And then I have this really cool pocket die. I've seen this floating around a couple places online recently, especially over the Christmas season. I got this from, or I learned about this die from Tiffany over at Let's Get Scrappy. It's my absolute favorite die to include in albums. So I think in Karolina's original album, she has a waterfall here as well. There is one on the back cover, but I think she has one on this side too. But I was out of paper and I didn't want to cut into any more of my bigger scraps. So I just grabbed this pocket die and created a pocket here. And it's like a tri-level pocket. So you can see there's 3 pockets. So inside, I just slipped a couple paper mats, or photo mats rather. And then I used one of the cut aparts to just create this little Valentine's Day card. This whole paper collection is technically Valentine's Day themed, but not everybody likes the super heavy emphasis on Valentine's Day. So I just made it kind of a love and flowers focus instead. And then, you know, the pieces that were kind of, you know, removable, that's where I put Valentine's Day in, so that if people don't want it to be Valentine's Day, you don't have to make it Valentine's Day, but you have the option. So that just slips right in here. This page, oops, you can see a paper scrap. Let's get rid of that. This page is right directly out of Karolina's albums. And the reason I wanted this album in particular was because of the Valentine's Day theme. My first thought was love letters, and this kind of envelope closure I thought was, I don't know, it was just perfect. I thought it fit the theme very well, and it kind of portrayed or conveyed that love letter feel. So this comes right out of her tutorial. So if you want the measurements for that, head on over to her channel. So I tied everything off in this pink seam binding. I will link that down below as well. So when you open up, let me move, oh, you can see, okay. When you open up this page, I just stuck a couple of photo mats in here. I used some of my bigger scraps and then added some stickers from the sticker sheet. And then they're just blank on the back. So you can add photos. I figured this would be really cool to write with a white pen, just because it'll pull in some of the colors from the collection kit and from the album. And I didn't want to put any more of this kind of pastel pink on here, just to kind of make sure there's some of that contrast. So yeah, 2 photo mats. These are each 4x6. And then I made another little photo mat, but I used my corner punch so that you could stick a 4x4 photo inside of here if you wanted, or if you wanted to add paper or a journaling spot, you know, kind of leave it up to the person. But I use that kind of powder pink and then the gold foil for my photo corners. And then I just use some of my scrap paper. Ooh, it's upside down. Use some of my scrap paper on the back. And then I just included one of the cut aparts from the collection. So this one says, "Hello, sweet stuff." And yeah, it just slips right in there. So then everything ties back up. I won't tie it up right now, but it does tie back up and keeps it secure. Inside each page, I have an insert. Again, these measurements come right from Karolina. And then I just use some of my scraps of paper to punch a kind of like a border strip on these inserts. And that was all the paper I had left. So that's where we stayed. So, oops, it's getting caught on something. There we go. Okay, so when you turn the page, we've got a belly band. Again, this is right from Karolina over at Karolina's Krafts. So I added our cut aparts right in here, but then I also added a sticker and made it a little tuck spot as well. So if you wanted to have a photo kind of like front and center, or a piece of memorabilia front and center, you could just tuck it right there, in addition to having the belly band tuck spots. So that's that page. The next page, this is based off of Karolina's album, but it's not exactly the same thing. So I think on hers, she does have this section here, but on hers, these are both 2 pockets, and I decided to move away from that for, I don't know, just my own reasons. I didn't want to do it for this album. So this is a pocket here, so you could fit pretty, let me see, this is a 4x6, right? So you could fit a 4x6 element in here, and then it's got the notch so you can still see that, you can take it out, or you could flip things this way. It's nice and deep, so you've got plenty of space there. And then I have a ribbon pull here, and this pulls down just like that, and magnetizes closed, so keeps it nice and secure. I really liked this flower pattern. I figured this would be a nice spot. This would be hard to kind of write on, but if you put your photos here, and then you could put, a piece of paper here to do your journaling, and then you would have this really nice flower backdrop. So you could probably fit 1, 2, 3, 4 photos here if you wanted to, or 2 big ones, 2 smaller photos here with some journaling, kind of however you want. And yeah, that just magnetizes closed. Let me just tuck this back over here. And then another insert on this side, and it's the same one. I just flipped it over so that you got this paper on the outside instead. Okay, so then when you turn the page, this page, again, I used another piece of this ribbon for a pull closure, or a pull tab. And when you lift this up, it creates, I don't know actually what this is called. Is this called a cascading waterfall? It might be. I got this idea from Tiffany over at Let's Get Scrappy. So one side just folds over the other, and everything magnetizes closed. So I use a combination of the pattern paper, and then I just pulled some pinks from my stash. I think I just got these from Michael's a long time ago, and I've been looking for a way to use them up, so I figured this would be a way to do it. And then each one just overlaps, just like that, and magnetizes closed. On this side, again, this is where I would have used a 4x6 cut apart, but this album, or this collection kit, did not come with 4x6 cut aparts. It only came with the 4x4s and the 3x4s. So I used a 3x4, or a 4x4 rather, and bulked it up as much as I could with some gold foiling, with some of this pink paper, and then just created a little booklet that does have a magnet in it, so it does magnetize closed and just stays right there. But this is, again, a nice deep pocket. You could add lots to this pocket and have tons of room still. So yeah. And then our last page has a flip up, again, another ribbon closure, but a flip up tab, plenty of space for journaling, for photos. And then this page, I was running out of scraps, so I had to kind of get creative. So I created a little teeny tiny pocket here with a little flip up here. But I wanted something to keep this closed, so I just made a little bookmark out of my scrap pieces of paper, punched an eyelet, and then added some seam binding, some of this pink seam binding and that just slips in there to keep everything close. So you could use it as a bookmark if you wanted to. You could take it out, you know, not even include it. But then I left the back blank again in this black because I figured this would be a cool spot for either like a little photo if you wanted to do like a 2x2 or a 2x3, and then some journaling, or you do, you know, all journaling on this side of the bookmark. I don't know, just a different element I haven't seen often in albums, and I just thought it would be, I don't know, something different. So that just tucks right in there. And then I have a waterfall, and that's it. That's about as simple as it gets. So again, use my pink seam binding, use some spare paper and a cut apart from the collection. This one just says love is a beautiful ride, and then alternated my shades of pink paper in my waterfall. And yeah, that's just about it. It was a very simple album. It was a lot of fun. It came together pretty quickly. I think I only worked on this for like maybe an afternoon or two. It was quick. So if anyone's looking for a good project, good afternoon project, or a good weekend project, definitely check out Karolina's tutorial down in the description box below. If I haven't mentioned it yet already, and I don't think I did, this album is for sale in my Etsy shop, so I will also link that down below in the description box. I don't think I have anything in my Etsy. Maybe I do at this point when I'm posting this. I do have things in my Etsy shop. Things basically sold out for Christmas, and that was it. They were gone. So thank you to everybody who purchased something. I will have this one in my Etsy shop, so if anybody is interested, feel free to check that out. So if you liked this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. I would love if you liked, follow, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram as well for any sneak peeks of projects coming up in the future. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.